And every night I would drive this Citroen in my dream. And it was maroon colored. And I ended up buying a maroon one. And there was a judge. He wanted to buy this car. And I beat him to it. I beat him to it. He said, Reinhard, you son of a... I was going to buy that car. I said, well, I beat you. The thing is, there's no hurry. You've got the rest of your life to walk this journey. And the journey is a really interesting one. Forget about the end of the journey. That's not the goal. The important thing is the journey itself. That's what's important. And all the good things and the bad things that happen on this journey. Mm-hmm. That's what's important. Not the end goal, whatever that might be. You know?
Yeah.
And when the time comes, don't be afraid to go. It's like falling asleep and waking in a dream. Dying is just like that. Make it peaceful. Ask that you have a peaceful transition. Whether it's a car accident or a bus hits you or something, it happens in a fraction of a second. You won't feel any pain. Don't worry about it. You fall asleep and you wake up in another reality. And it's going to be a whole lot better than this one. Because in order to come down here, it took guts. It took courage. And when you decided to make an appearance in this 3D, they asked you, the guides, you sure you want to come down here? Are you absolutely sure? And you convinced them, yeah, I do. I want to come down here and have these experiences. And they said, okay. But this is a tough, tough place to spend a lifetime learning the things we came down here to learn. And we learn best from the mistakes we make, from the pain, from the suffering, not from the good things. Most people learn very little from the happy. We learn most from the painful things, from the mistakes we make, because we get a chance to ask ourselves, why did I make that mistake? What am I supposed to learn? And I won't do that again. It's a hard school. It's a hard school to come down here. And there are a lot of on the other side wanting to come here. And there's people blowing their brains out, you know, because they can't stand it here anymore. They can't do it. But there's lots on the other side, because in order to incarnate here, for the soul, it needs a body to animate this 3D, to live in this. It requires a lot of honesty, integrity, all those good qualities that nobody talks about, you know. They talk about making money and spending money and buying a big house and a fancy car. And when people see me drive in my fancy car, you know, they know I'm not a street bum. Makes them feel good. Well, not necessarily. Been there, had all of them. Had brand new Mercedeses. I've had them all. I stopped counting cars at 25. I've lost track of how many cars I've owned. Bought quite a lot of brand new cars. I've had cars that most people never had. I had a Citroen DS 2020 Palace. The most incredible car.
Never heard of.
I don't know what
Most
that is.
incredible car.
I'm sure we can Google it.
You would not believe the ride of a DS Palace, like floating on air cushions.
Wow.
Hydropneumatic suspension. It was so good that Rolls-Royce went to André Citroën. They said, what will you charge us if we get your suspension on our Rolls-Royce? André Citroën said, I'll make you a deal. You put a little decal on the Rolls-Royce, suspension by André Citroën, we'll give it to you for nothing. He said, it's a deal. So Rolls-Royce for many years had a decal on the side, a suspension by André Citroën. Nothing like it in the world. Nothing like it, honest to God. You would not, I can't even begin to tell you what it's like. You're floating, and you reach a lever down here, a little beautiful lever, and you can raise the suspension from 6 inches to 11 inches, front and back. The car, hydraulic, jacks itself up. And then you can lower it down, and when you shut it off, it sinks down to about 4 inches. When you get in the car and you start it up, the front comes up, and then the rear comes up, and now you're level, and now you can go. Hydropneumatic suspension, you know?
But it sounds like you got joy out of having.
Oh, there's nothing like it. To drive a Citroen, to own a Citroen and drive one, is an emotion.
What year was this?
It was 68.
It's 1968.
Yeah, 68. Came from Sherbrooke, Quebec. An engineer had it there, and Toyota dealer in Calgary.
How old were you?
In 1968, 28.
You were 28 years old.
Yeah, I have to have a Citroen.
Yeah.
So I found this one maroon.
Was it a manifestation?
I manifested it. I drove this car in my dreams for months.
Tell me about it. How did you manifest?
I just thought I know what they looked like, but I could never afford to buy one. And everyone, if their used one came to Calgary, some rich guy with money and cash snapped it up right away, you know?
Yep.
So I knew what they were like. I read everything about them, you know. There was nothing I didn't know about Citroen. And every night I would drive this Citroen in my dream. And it was maroon colored. And I ended up buying a maroon one. And there was a judge, not a nice judge, he was a meanie. He wanted to buy this car, and I beat him to it. I beat him to it, and he said, Reinhard, you son of a I was going to buy that car. I said, well, I beat you. That's a whole nother thing. It's a state of mind. It is not a car. It is a mental state to own a car like that. It is so radically different.
Sounds like you felt that already before you even touched the car.
I had the first BMW that was ever sold in Western Canada, in Calgary. Very first one. I had a brand new Saab. I had a brand new Volkswagen van. I had a brand new Renault. I had 3 or 4 Renaults. I had a brand new 78 Mercedes, 5-cylinder diesel.
Well, what did you do for a living?
I was a high school teacher.
We were commenting on this because I think that a lot of men in your age category that maybe they finished high school, maybe they didn't, and then they never wrote anything else ever again in their life. And then they get later on in life and they just can't write anything. So it's very obvious that you've been writing for a great portion of your life because it was...
Well, I've been marking papers mostly. not writing much.
Yeah.
But, anyway, my whole life has been a series of strange things. I ended up doing things I never set out to do. Joined the RCMP, and then I realized, no, I cannot say sir and take orders from anybody. That would not suit me. Then I went into pre-law. I was going to become a lawyer. And then they took us down to the courtroom to watch what happens in a courtroom. And I said, the hell with that. I can't plead for a guy that I know is guilty and get him off. There's no way I'm going to do that. So lawyer was out. So then I graduated with a BA, and my friend said, I got it. We're going to join the diplomatic corps, and we'll get overseas posting. We'll see the world. Let's go down, sign up for the diplomatic corps. So we went down. He got in. He got a posting to Tokyo right away. They said, Mr. Stanjek, we have to tell you something. Since you are not a natural-born Canadian, you can only get a posting within Canada. No overseas posting. Then. Now this isn't a... So I said, forget it. If I'm going to stay in Canada, my idea was I wanted to see the rest of the world, you know? So then here I am with a BA. What the hell are you going to do? You can't do anything. I can't be a diplomat because I'm a naturalized citizen, not a natural-born one. So I said, well, what the hell are you going to do with your life? I said, well, you like ideas, you like reading, you like books. Take 2 years and get a Bachelor of Education and teach. You're with the books, you're with ideas, you're exchanging ideas with kids. And so that's what I did. So because I had a historical background in political science, lots of courses, they made me a social studies teacher. Okay? Hated it.
Oh, did you?
Hated it.
Well, did you think it was all crap? It wasn't true?
Well...
Not just that.
I knew already then that most history is bunk.
Yeah.
Okay? But then...
But back then you didn't have internet.
Oh, no. But I was
Just
an avid
intuitively.
reader.
Oh, you were reading a lot of books.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's what
Oh,
people
yeah.
did before the internet.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I was born with the internet, so
Giving them all away, hundreds and hundreds of books.
yeah.
I was an avid reader.